IPMNation.com.
Let's take this call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
It's Crawford from the Joe Show. Happy second anniversary.
Joe Crawford, how are you, sir? All the way from Canada, or Canada, as some like to say.
Canada, yeah. How are you?
I'm doing great. I think this is the first time you've ever called into my show live.
I think so, yeah.
You're my favorite Canadian. Well, next to Michael J. Fox, of course, and probably some random hockey player.
Well, thank you. That says a lot.
What about Fergie Jenkins? You're not a fan of Fergie Jenkins?
I don't know who Fergie Jenkins is. Who's Fergie Jenkins?
And you appeared on the baseball show all those years.
Oh, that's true. Joe, do you know who Fergie Jenkins is?
No, I don't know who Fergie Jenkins is.
And you call yourself a Canadian?
Yeah. Well, he does call himself a Canadian.
He's the first Canuck to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
I forget, Joe. Do you have dual citizenship, or are you strictly Canadian?
Strictly Canadian. I do have family who are American.
Yes.
But I am strictly Canadian only.
Yes, yes.
Canuckistan.
Oh, Canuckistan. Wow. I like to think of it as northern Michigan, personally. I hope that's not offensive to you, Joe.
No, USA Juniors.
No, northern Michigan, northern Montana, northern New York, it all equals out the same because the weather all tends to be the same anyways.
Oh, Jenny in the Facebook live chat says, Jeezaloo. Now, you know what's funny about that? Because you say that all the time, Joe. Jon Hopwood over here says Jeezoo quite a bit. So he has his own version of Jeezaloo just without the Isn't that
he's cutting right to the cake. He's doing the shortcut version.
Yeah, he's going right for the Lou. He goes right from Jeez to Lou, or Jeezoo.
Well, I like to keep it classic.
No, that's right. There's no Lou.
Mozartian.
It's Jeezoo.
Well, I call it Jezu.
You call it Jezu.
Well, it'd be Jezu, really, but
it's
I like
spelled
to call
like
it Jezu.
Yeah, but you're not Canadian, so why do you say things like that?
Part French Canadian.
Oh, there you go. All right. See, it all comes around. It all comes together.
None of the Franco-American crap for me. Like a can of cheap spaghetti.
Right. So how have you been, Joe? What's new with you? You and I legitimately haven't talked in a really long time.
Yeah, no, I've been doing very well and been very busy. Of course, as you mentioned before, I have the Joe Show, so that's going strong.
Yes.
And season 12 is wrapping up in the end of June, and we'll do season 13 in the fall time there. I have another business that I run on my own, a lot of entertaining that I'm doing across Canada and in Ontario, the province that I'm from. And, yeah, just enjoying life and loving every minute of it.
Very nice. Loving every minute of it, of course, the name of one of the hit singles from the band Loverboy, who are also Canadian. I don't know if you did that intentionally, Joe, but that's what came to my mind when you said that. Feel free to take credit for doing that intentionally, even if you didn't. That's what I would do.
I did that fully intentionally, just on purpose.
Of course you did. Yes. Loving every minute of it was, I believe, later in their career, but still a legitimate hit song. Is Loverboy still big?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Are they still big in Canada?
Oh, yeah, especially...
Are they really?
I know a lot of people in southern Ontario here love Loverboy and that yeah, they're very big.
I can't tell if you're kidding. I feel like you're kidding, but I'm not sure. No, you're serious?
I wish I was kidding, but I'm not kidding.
Well, all right. By the way, Joe, are you working for the weekend? See what I did there? See, because you did.
I'm actually working on the weekend, but not for the weekend.
Well, that's kind of the same thing. See, I mean, there you go. Because I had to take your loving every minute of it and I just elevated the whole concept to the next level with my comment. If you notice, I am a comic genius. Just ask me.
You are fantastic.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Now, what will you be doing over the summer while you're on hiatus from your show? Because you take a summer break, correct?
Yeah, I do take a summer break. Just a lot of performing and enjoying the surroundings and traveling a bit here and there. The big trip I'm actually doing in September. I'm going to Israel for 2 weeks.
Ooh,
so that's going to be a lot of fun. That's a vacation, not an actual work thing. That's a vacation, but yeah.
Jenny's going to be jealous. She wants to go to Israel.
Who wants to go?
Oh, Jenny. Jenny, she wants to go to Israel, so she'll be very jealous.
I'll take a lot of pictures for her to see.
Very nice, very nice, outstanding. Oh, I see. Chuck Colansis is in the Facebook live chat, as well as Stefan Philbrook and Jenny. Jenny's making fun of Hopwood there. So yeah. So well, Joe. So what's how are things going up there in Canada for, we talk about politics on the show. How are things going for Justin Trudeau? I saw that he was in some trouble recently.
And the election can't come fast enough to get rid of the guy. We have our election for the nation in October. And, there's lots of controversy going on, and 2 of his cabinet members have been ousted.
Yeah, they threw them out of the Liberal caucus.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Conrad Black defended that, in the National Post. So I don't know. Who can argue with Conrad Black?
The big thing is that she recorded, but I mean, it's legal under our chartered rights here in Canada in the criminal code that she recorded her conversations. And in our charter, it says that as long as one person of the conversation knows that there's a recording being done, which obviously that would be the person recording it, that it's fully legal. Well, so the other person doesn't need to know that it's being recorded.
Okay.
Now, however, if you're doing a phone call, then that person needs to know. But if you're face-to-face with that person, the other people do not need to know. Only one person needs to know, and that one person can be the person recording.
Okay. And she was the Minister of Justice. Like the equivalent of our Attorney General.
So for me, I haven't followed this as closely, and for our listeners, did she record an interaction with Justin Trudeau that was incriminating? Is that what happened here? Or
she was actually recording not with Justin Trudeau, but assistants of Justin Trudeau in regards of the situation. I don't know exactly what it fully was either, but yeah, she was not actually recording Justin Trudeau, it was just other people assisting Justin Trudeau.
Okay. All right.
And then Ontario, our premier, is just like a mini Trump up here.
Oh,
Everyone's
come on.
Him to a mini Trump.
Have some sympathy. He lost his brother.
Did he?
His brother was he was the mayor of Toronto. He was a notorious.
Oh, Rob Ford?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob Ford's brother is our premier.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Well, come on. You had Mike Harris. He's, I guess he wasn't as bad. He's bad. I don't know if he's bad worse than Harris.
Wow.
And remember Ralph Klein in Alberta?
Yeah, well, they're changing our Ontario logo because Doug Ford says it looks like 3 men in a hot tub.
Really?
That could be Manchester's old.
Oh, my goodness. Doug Ford is his name?
Rub-a-dub-dub. Absolutely.
They're twin brothers.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing a television show that they had done together when Rob Ford was still alive. And I guess it only lasted 1 episode. But it was like just the 2 of them talking about politics and almost like an infomercial for themselves and their political careers. I have no idea what it was called, but I just remember seeing it on YouTube. And I guess it was like
Ford Nation.
Ford Nation. Yes. But sadly, it only lasted 1 episode because Rob Ford was, Toronto is the 4th largest city in North America. Rob Ford really was a prominent figure there for a while just because of his buffoonery.
Oh, my God. But look, you're talking about this. When you were a tyke, you were at Studio 54 with Justin's mom, Margaret Trudeau, when she was with Mick Jagger and the kid, the guy that had the plane load of cocaine.
Well, that's all true, but I can't really talk about that. I don't want to have to. I was paid a large sum of hush money, as we say here in the U.S., to not discuss any of that. I don't want to have to give that back because, frankly, it's already spent.
Because, you're just a tyke. You used to operate the crotch cam, which we won't go any further.
Well, I did. And those are wonderful memories, but...
got you quite an education.
Yes, indeed. Yes. To me, the most disappointing thing about the death of Rob Ford is that Chris Farley had already died a long time ago, and he would have been ideal to play Rob Ford in a movie about him, like
was Chris Farley
biopic.
Canadian?
No, but he was he would have been perfect to play Rob Ford. Don't you think so, Joe?
Oh, absolutely. Or like an SNL skit back in the day or whatever else.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even Rob Ford got invited to Jimmy Kimmel, and he was getting international recognition, too, with the things that Rob was doing.
Absolutely. I assume Doug, I mean, you said Doug is like a mini Trump, but I assume he kind of has it together a little bit more than his brother did, at least, right? I mean, I would assume.
Maybe. Maybe not.
They were in cahoots together.
Yeah, but I just mean in terms of just being a total buffoon. Although you did say he's a mini Trump, so maybe he is as much of a blithering buffoon as his brother was. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? They're really making it's what's going to be really huge in Ontario, and I'm kind of sitting on the fence with it as well. Is the fact that so really Ontario, Doug is trying to make a lot of the alcohol habits of what United States has.
Oh, that's
where
right.
It can be sold in corner stores now. Well, not yet. The budget just came out yesterday. Actually.
You're going to be able to.
But
bars at 9 a.m. are going to be able to serve liquor.
Yeah, 9 a.m. They can promote party hour. We're going to be able to do tailgating. We're going to be able to basically drink. They'll be able to offer drinks in the casino for free, as long as you're gambling, like they do in the States as well.
Like the old days.
Lot of changes, which I mean will be very friendly for our American neighbors and friends to come on up and enjoy that same atmosphere, I guess you can say. But it does seem a lot like though it is a lot of drinking and alcohol throwing down our throats all at once. I believe if he actually did it right, because I'm not really I don't drink and drive. I'm not much of a drinker myself, but if he did it like gradually at different things, I think it would be perfect. But it just seems like everything's all drinking, like tailgating, happy hour, 9 a.m. this, and it's deflecting from a few other things from that they're doing in cutbacks of healthcare and education and that kind of nature.
Yeah,
but here's free booze, and then we even did for one time it was a buck of beer and have a buck of beer, and that was going on too. Where actually some breweries actually jumped on the bandwagon for a little promotion for like 2 or 3 months, where you could buy a bottle of beer for $1. But yeah, it just seems like a lot of drinking. So it's a lot for his buddies, I guess you can say, of that nature. But other than that, I think the casino, because I like that atmosphere when I go to the States and I go gamble at the casino.
Yeah.
And you have the option of and I tip the waitress, whatever else. Or I like going when I go to the Buffalo Bills. I'm not a Buffalo Bills fan, but I go to the Buffalo Bills game, and you have that tailgating experience, all again within reason. But it just all came at once. I think it's just a little too much for us laid-back Canadians.
Since you've got pot.
Yeah, Jenny in the Facebook live chat, in fact, was just asking, what is it like in a nation with legalized cannabis? Are you living in reefer madness now, or did the sky not fall?
The sky doesn't fall, believe it or not.
Wow.
And it's like nothing has really, except there's a lot of, I love dumb criminals stories, and I love those kind of stories that you hear. And you can see, I live on border town area with being in Niagara Falls, Canada, and Niagara Falls, New York, just literally right over the river.
Yeah.
And they have all the signs, literally, do not bring cannabis over the border.
Right.
And the amount of stories we're hearing that people are getting caught at the border with marijuana, and it seems to be like 50-50 legit Americans and Canadians. Americans are trying to bring it back to wherever they are vacationing from. The Canadians are just carrying it on because it's legal.
Wow.
And it's like, come on, people.
Yeah. Well, that is, that does seem awfully risky, and it's not like you can't smell it.
No, right? And I mean, myself, I'm not a user of marijuana. I'm not against people who use marijuana. I actually believe that there are some health benefits to marijuana usage with pain and everything else of that nature, because I'm more not into pill giving, but more naturopathic.
Exactly.
And other ways of infusing that into your system. But yeah, I just everyone thought like, oh my gosh, there's going to be stoners all over the place, and everyone's going to be it's like another day. Nothing has changed.
Right.
It's okay.
Hey, there's a burning question down here is. There's been a lot of talk about climate change, and we all know that Parliament in Ottawa is a huge igloo. Are they dealing with the problem? I mean, it's been going on and off for 10 years now.
I'm sure Doug Ford does not believe in climate change, certainly.
But the
No,
igloo.
Doug Ford doesn't believe in climate change at all.
Yeah.
But the igloo's
Ottawa
melting.
put in a carbon tax that just came out, and no fooling, April 1st, that raised up carbon tax prices and gasoline prices up. And Doug Ford is like trying to slash the carbon tax and impose it. And I believe that there is actually a lawsuit that is being done up, or if not already in the process, not yet in the courts, but just in the initial beginning stages of it, of this carbon tax that's happening and inflicted upon Canadians.
Is is it a big spike in gas prices, or do you even notice it? Because gas prices tend to fluctuate anyway.
Exactly. Well, you know what? I've seen we're paying right now $1.16 a liter. So translate that into 4 liters in a gallon. It's about $4 or $5 a gallon we're paying.
Ooh.
But yeah,
ouch.
But when the carbon tax came in, it shot up 10 cents a liter.
Oh.
So now we're looking at anywhere between $1.24 to $1.26. But unfortunately, our Canadians out west in British Columbia, they're paying about $1.72 a liter right now.
Right.
It's almost like $7.50 a gallon for gas.
Yeah.
And they're part of that carbon tax as well, and everything that Ottawa implemented.
Okay. Yeah, Jenny in the Facebook live chat says New Hampshire could learn a few things. Guess you can keep enjoying the tourist boost on us, because of, the cannabis. And it's funny, we often lament here in New Hampshire where we are, we're surrounded by states and a country because of you guys that have all gone full legal on cannabis, and we just still can't get there. We're making progress. They finally decriminalized it here in New Hampshire, but it is still technically not legal.
No. I think if done right, because I know too, like the province of Ontario tried to do their Ontario cannabis store. And there was actually first of all, they got hacked, and there was a huge issue there that people's information got compromised and all that.
Yeah.
Then there was the fact that they were selling bad marijuana, and it was going moldy, and the delivery system was not working properly.
Ooh.
Like if it was running smoothly and got its act together, like Colorado's doing it fantastic and making like money off of it. Like I believe that it can thrive with the economy, that it could really help out, but it only has to be done right. But these few states that are down there, because I think now it's almost like 50-50 with you guys down there, that basically the states that have marijuana legal and not legal. But if we look at
I wish it was that many.
Pardon?
I said I wish it was that many. It's not 50-50 yet. We'll get there. But you'll
get there.
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing is, like, if we can look, or other people or other states or other nations can look at the platform that like Colorado has and it's doing well, or other states that are doing it well, it can work really well and go with that. But it just seems to be like no one can understand the concept yet of how to actually make it work up here in Canada to its benefit yet.
Yeah. Well, in Colorado, I know they tax it, and I don't know if this ended up happening, but at one point they were looking at potentially giving citizens of that state tax rebates, because apparently it's in their state constitution that if they have a surplus. And I just know broad strokes about this. I'm no expert, but from what I understand, they have it's in their constitution. If they have a surplus, they have to actually rebate the taxpayers. So they're just swimming in money. But the results appear to be overall. I mean, Colorado is kind of the litmus test in the United States, even though other states have gone full legal. But everyone kind of looks to Colorado, both positive and negative, because you also have people online who oppose legalization, who talk about Colorado as though it's descended into some apocalyptic hellscape since legalizing cannabis. And I have one friend who talks about that, who says, it's gotten so bad, and he had taken a trip out there, and I guess he's a state legislator. I won't say who it is, but he's a state legislator here in New Hampshire. And
Did he go on a motorcycle?
Yes,
Okay.
and he talked to
He could benefit from it.
Yeah,
you know.
He talked to a state legislator in Colorado who told him of a story of some kid who ended up in a coma or something because
and it would never have happened otherwise.
Because they got a hold of some edibles and very often
all of us have been there.
and very often when someone really wants to convince you of something, all they need is just one story of anecdotal evidence, and they think that completely proves their case. I call it "I know a guy" syndrome, because everybody says, "Oh, I know a guy who got into trouble with this, and that's why you shouldn't do it, and that's why it should be illegal forever." And it's like, yeah, you know a guy, and maybe you really do know a guy, but that's that doesn't change the broader reality and circumstances of it. So. But my understanding is Colorado's done spectacularly well overall.
$6 billion last year, from $1 billion in 2016.
In
18,000 jobs
in revenue from
sales, yeah,
and 18,000 jobs created because of it.
Right,
that's fantastic. I mean, how could anyone argue with that? Yeah, you might have a few more.
Exactly.
You might have a few more stoned people walking around. Big deal. Plus, I've never believed that it being illegal actually prevents anyone from doing it who wants to do it. Because if it did, then why are our prisons full of nonviolent drug offenders? Which reminds me, so in Canada, Joe, when they went full legal, what about people who are already, or maybe there's not much of it, maybe there wasn't much of it up there, but what about people who are already in jail for possession and use of cannabis? Are they just...
Yeah, they would have to... there actually was... It was funny because before or as the legalization date was approaching, it was all this talk of what was going to happen with these prisoners who were in jail because of being possessing marijuana. But after it came, the legalization and that, I've never heard specifically or any other stories about what happened to these individuals, if they got their case re-looked at or are they still serving their term. Because even I think about a month up to the legalization date, there was actually still a lot of police raids raiding the cannabis depots or whatever you want to call them, of these stores that were still acting illegally at the time. And they busted like so many, especially like in Hamilton and Toronto and the big cities out in Vancouver and that. And they were operating for 15, 16, 17. It wasn't like they were just around for like a couple of years. They were like veterans in this. And all of a sudden, before cannabis became legal, there was like these raids that were going insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that's frustrating, and it's been it's a pet issue of mine because I oppose the drug war in its entirety, and it frustrates me that all this talk about legalization of cannabis is great, and I want it to continue, and I want something done federally, and all of that, but I also want people who have been locked up. As long as that's all they're locked up for, nonviolent drug offenders, I want them let out. I had this fantasy. Yeah. And I knew that it was obviously. I had a fantasy, and I knew that there was no chance of it happening. That on his last day in office, President Obama would sign an executive order granting an amnesty to all the nonviolent drug offenders in our prisons on his way out the door. Of course, it would be challenged and struck down in court anyway if he did that. But I thought that would be a great thing, if even only.
And it would have been overturned by President Trump because anything that Obama did, Trump just overturned it.
Pretty much, yeah. He's the anti-Obama. That's
I know.
Part of his brand.
That's why I'm wearing the orange jacket today. He's rolled back the agreement between Major League Baseball and Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, Oh, boy. Yeah. Cuba. Canada's never has had relations with Cuba for a long, long time.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Isn't Norlisk, is that... Well, everybody's connected now.
It's a global world, which is redundant, I know, but
Well, some Canadians bought what are considered U.S. assets by U.S. because they were seized by Cuba.
Oh,
so
interesting.
if we ever do normalize relations, which is ridiculous that we don't, but you know, it keeps everybody in Florida happy.
That's
Republicans.
True. That's true.
There's going to be a lot that has to be worked out. Ownership of assets down there.
Speaking of the globe, do they have flat earthers in Canada? We have a lot of them here.
I haven't come across any, or haven't heard of any about any flat earthers here in Canada. So
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm going to say no, not that much.
Yeah.
So
Probably because you're closer to the North Pole, so it's you're naturally going to be more skeptical.
yeah, I think so too.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
We're still. I think we're still trying to talk about we're close to the North Pole. We still keep on fighting to say that the North Pole, where Santa lives, is still part of Canada.
Free Nunavut.
Huh?
Free Nunavut.
Free Nunavut.
That's right.
I don't get it.
You're not supposed to.
Okay.
It's Canadian code, apparently.
Oh, well, you don't apparently you don't get it either. Can't be Canadian code then.
He's from Ontario in a border town. USA Junior.
Right. Yes. How often do you get to the United States, Joe? Because you travel down here quite a bit, don't you?
Oh my gosh, do I ever? It's hilarious because what's hilarious is I do go over a bit. That's not the hilarious part. However, maybe I do maybe probably frequent it about maybe I would say at least 7-8 times a month. But I was coming from out east at the end of February, and I traveled from New Brunswick, but then I decided to go and drive to the States all the way back home. And they pulled me over.
Who's they?
The New Brunswick Maine border.
Right, New Brunswick.
They didn't like the fact that I crossed over quite a bit. And they're like, why do you come here a lot? And I'm like, because I live on a border town, and this wasn't sufficient enough for them. So they I was detained for an hour. I mean, I had nothing to hide, no big deal or anything else of that nature.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, you're just really traveling to go home. I said, yeah. And then they were like, well, why do you, I got family here in the Western New York area. I come over shopping quite a bit. I get gas quite a bit. Because even though the dollar isn't that great, you can still get some great deals. And if you make a good trip out of it, you can still do a lot of saving.
Sure. So they
I would say about 7-8 times a month.
Yeah, but they detained you for an hour, you said?
They detained me at the Maine border, for an hour.
Jeez, what a pain. Yeah.
What do you mean,
Yeah,
the Maine New Brunswick border? New Brunswick's one of the states, isn't it?
No, New Brunswick is a province.
Come on. You're starting to talk like Glenard J. Ouellette right now.
We should annex it.
We all know it's one of the states. Why, Donald Sutherland comes from New Brunswick.
Well, we know the Trump.
Yes.
We know the Trump administration doesn't care about Puerto Rico, so maybe we could get rid of Puerto Rico and annex New Brunswick.
Why would we? We won the war in 1833, didn't we? We won New Brunswick fair and square.
Well, that's true. I mean, we could use the logic Putin used to take back Crimea. We'll take back New Brunswick. How's that sound, Joe?
Take it back.
Well, I think there was a story not so long ago where I think that
when did we lose it?
Americans from Montana were trying to sell Montana to Canada.
Really?
As if they need more of the prairie, right? The high plains.
Oh, boy.
What, were they trying to go with Ralph Klein when he was the premier of Alberta?
What's wrong with Montana? Yeah. You guys don't want Montana? I actually don't mind giving them Montana.
Have you ever been to Montana?
No, that's why I don't care if they have it.
Don't fall into a mine shaft.
Oh, well, geez, you're not exactly selling this Montana thing.
None of it.
Jenny in the Facebook live chat says, protecting Americans from comedians since 2016, referring to the Border Patrol there.
protecting Americans in New Brunswick, I guess.
That's right.
What I thought was really interesting and neat, though, between the American border of Maine and New Brunswick is that literally I could have, and it just boggled my mind, like just before crossing the border, it was like, say, 2 p.m., and then literally you cross over the border, it was 3 p.m. But you were like exactly in the right same spot area, just in two different countries. But because how the time zones work and
right, Atlantic time
and whatever else, it was like, wow, I can have 1 foot in one time zone and 1 foot in the other time zone.
Right.
You know, I'm just talking, when I was a kid, you know, there is no border. There is, but there wasn't. Even here in Manchester, we used Canadian because it was at par. And, you know, there was no border. Some people, one of my father's business partners, he gets busted in New Brunswick. He says, what do you mean this isn't the United States? He had no idea. He was originally from Boston. But there was, you know, you just went across, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
In their places, I mean, you know, there were major border crossings where you have to say, United States, don't say American. They could get snippy about that. But, you know, just regular places where people live, like Caribou, Maine, you just go right across. That's not true anymore. Not since 2001.
Jenny says it's the dreaded Canadian cooking comedians build a wall. Hey, is there ever talk in Canada about building a wall to keep us out?
That's a good idea.
No, absolutely not.
Oh.
I mean, we just decide, hey, we're not going to come down and be a part of it for the 4 years that you guys are in right now. We're not coming down at all. But no wall. But it's funny how the Canadian comedian, though, because and nothing against these border patrol guys on both nations, United States and Canada, because they do a lot of work and try to protect our borders and that stuff, and your borders as well. But I remember one time, it was early morning, about 7 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, I was going over to go get gas in Western New York, and I have my face on my van advertising myself and the Joe Crawford Live website.
Yeah.
And so the American patrol officer says to me, he goes, what do you do for a living? And I go, I do singing comedy shows. And he goes to me, sing me a song. I go, you got to be kidding me. I got to sing you a song? He goes, sing me a song. I go, really? He goes, sing me a song or I will not let you into the United States. I said, really? But okay, so very badly, because I was like 7 o'clock in the morning and whatever. I was like, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. And the guy goes, just like that, and the guy goes, yeah, don't quit your day job. Have a good day.
Wow.
But you got to kind of submit to them because you are at their mercy, right? Like,
exactly.
I could have said, no, I'm not singing you a song and argue with him, and he could have turned me back.
Right. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you tell him not to quit his day job either? Because you assume he has no actual talent? I'd have been like,
no, I just said, thank you very much, sir, and I went on to get my gas.
I would have been tempted to say, yeah, don't quit your day job either, buddy. I'm pretty sure you found your calling. You know.
And then I would have been one of those people who would have been in jail.
That's true.
You know, it's taboo. My father, he had a pistol in his car, and he was shooting across Ontario to save some time.
Shooting across Ontario. I see what you did there.
But he was going, you know, to get, because, you know, you can cut a lot of time off.
Right,
and, the woman that was he had never really had problems because, you know, he dresses well. He's a Caucasian of a certain, you know, type. He's driving his Cadillac, but she started going through his luggage. And usually if he had gone through, he had hidden it well. But this time he had it in his suitcase.
Oops.
And
got a little careless, did he?
But as she's getting close, she says, Are you going to play with my undies or something? And she was shocked and throws the thing down.
Oh, that's smart. Wow, that's smart.
He would have been screwed. He's in Canada.
Yeah.
So he never did that again.
Wow.
You know,
wow.
But
well, listen.
Gentlemen, I got to sign off and go.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say we've kept you on for a while, but it's great to talk to you.
Mike Huckabee, you know, has all the sympathy in the world for you guys over the melting igloo. But, you know, there's little he can do because it's God's will. And that is the truth.
That's right.
About Mike Huckabee's opinion.
Yes, yes. Joe, before you go, do you want to do a quick plug for your show and your website and stuff? Do you have time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to make a quick plug here, JoeCrawfordLive.com. you can check me out there, and all the information of what I do entertaining, you can see that all there, the social media, and of course the Joe Show that is on Sundays at 4 p.m. online at revealingtalkradio.com. We have a lot of great celebrity guests and fun on there, and yeah, we're on till at least the middle or end of June. And check that out, the Joe Show, Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry, kind of short, but I'm going to go see the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, very cool.
Do you
very
think
nice.
do you think the Generals are going to win this game this time? Do they still play the Generals?
No, I don't know if they're playing the Generals. I'm not too sure.
Oh. All right, Joe. Well, thank you so much for the call, my friend. It is wonderful to hear from you. Maybe we could, I'd love to do this more often with you, man. But thank you so much, and have a good night.
Thanks. Likewise, guys. Take care.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was cool. That was a big surprise, actually. I had no idea he was going to be calling, and, like, legit, I haven't actually had a conversation with Joe in a long time.
IPMNation.com.